Hello, I'm Ed Reed from Energy Voice, and I'm here today with Andy and Jan from DNV. Andy, let's start with you. Spade Adam, tell me about it. What do you do there?
Well, Spade Adam is DNV's large testing facility in the UK, in the north of England. DNV's just invested a significant amount of money in the new office to facilitate the collaboration for large-scale testing, major hazards testing for energy organisations who are involved in research and development. So this is an exciting facility where we work with the regional people, Jan and others, on research and development for example, the energy transition projects.
And when you're sort of doing tests there, what sort of things are you looking at?
Basically, we're doing research into gathering data for large-scale fracture propagation tests, fire explosion, for example, on hydrogen fires, looking at CO2 releases, dispersion, but also gathering that data which then feed into CFD models, which DNV will work with on QRA. And it's important to provide safety critical evidence for operators, safety case, but also recommended practices as well.
And Jan, I mean, we're here in Abu Dhabi at the very bustling ADIPEC. What brings Spade Adam sort of north of England that sort of interest to here? What's the sort of the point of connection?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the points that Andy just touched upon in terms of demonstrating safety, researching how critical gases in the energy transition behave, that is in turn very relevant to our customers here in the Middle East. I mean, we have ADNOC hosting this ADIPEC event. They are really keen on these capabilities in DNV to further research and development and to bring those research results back into operational practices and safe practices for energy majors like ADNOC. So that's why we asked Andy to join us here at the stand and sort of speak about what DNV is doing in Europe and bringing it to our local markets, for example, here in the Middle East.
I mean, I think it's a fascinating topic, that kind of question around sort of transferring knowledge, expertise, skills. I feel like there's probably a lot could be said about how to go about it. But I mean, any sort of ideas around, how you make that work, right? How you take sort of knowledge, learning, technology from one place, apply it to another. What are the things that make that possible?
I think this has been at the core of DNV for more than 150 years, as long as the company is existing, right? So we're a knowledge company. We have our expertise hubs like Andy's team in the UK on safety matters and hazardous testing. And then we connect that with our global organization. So DNV has been present in the Middle East, in Abu Dhabi for more than 40 years. That's a long time for a young country like this. And we are bridging the gap with people, right? So we do research in certain places. We capture that in standards, in DNV practices, DNV recommended practices standards. And then we provide our services in the regions, for example, in the UAE, based on those DNV standards that we certify against. So that's our way of transmitting the knowledge and always bringing it with the people in front of the customer. So Andy is here to join us in many customer meetings where we give a face to the abstract knowledge and put
face of Spade Adam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when sort of Middle Eastern companies, ADNOC, whoever, kind of come to Spade Adam, what are they interested in? What do they see that kind of ticks those boxes that they need to know?
I think part of it is the legacy of the research we've done from previous 150 years, building up on that experience, but also some of the times is the real life demonstrations we'll do on site of you don't get to see an 80 bar jet fire every day, to feel it, to see it, to sense it, of what potentially managing the operations of a major hazard situation, So we'll get a lot of knowledge transfer, thought leadership events, looking from process safety and major hazards, all the way to looking at the hazards from CO2, ammonia, hydrogen, but also feeling that experience as well. Through the demonstrations, we're allowed to and prepare to deliver for that. And there's been a number of success stories of the likes of Equinor, Total Energies, come to site to do that thought leadership courses for executives, CEOs, but also the technicians on site as well. So that's very important.
And yeah, when you see these kind of these Middle Eastern, I mean, I feel like there's a question in the Middle East, isn't there, around sort of the transition, the addition, whatever we're calling it at the moment. How do you see that sort of playing out in sort of demand for DNV's services? Do you see it as a sort of driving that sort of oil and gas interest, or is it moving into sort of hydrogen and CCS?
I would say the trust between DNV and its customers, including the oil majors in the Middle East, has been built on our traditional services and support we provided in the oil and gas operations that they have been doing for so many years. So there has been a level of trust developed. Nowadays, through the research that we do, for example, our Energy Transition Outlook, the report that we publish every year, ADNOC is also coming to us to help them sort of venture into the lower carbon energies, whether it's decarbonizing their oil and gas operations or any sort of low carbon energy ventures that they are investing in and moving towards. So I think it's a trustful relationship developed over many years, which sort of enables us to support them also on these new steps that they are making. But obviously the research and with the ETO report that we just recently published in October is something that gives ADNOC a lot of look ahead and an independent view of how the future may develop in terms of hydrocarbon versus non-fossil fueled energy.
Yeah. And I suppose thinking about the future, right, and thinking about sort of opportunities in the Middle East and beyond, what are you sort of looking at? What does growth look like for DNV?
I think one of the things areas is about certainly collaboration going forward. The time frames where each individual organisation does their own research and development is limited, so it's about collaboration now and moving into joint industry projects to produce the recommended practices with the safety research, the guidelines about moving faster at that pace. So I think the success of that is moving forward, and we'll see that with Skylark, which is a joint industry project, which is about CO2 dispersion, which is key critical to CO2 pipelines, whether they're repurposed or new pipelines, to look at the safety risk as we're going to the carbon capture space from that point. So very much about collaboration.
I would like to maybe add on to that both Andy and myself, we are representing the business area in DNV called Energy Systems, which is sort of incorporating the expertise and the services we provide to the oil and gas sector, but also to the electrical power sector and the renewable power sector. So within DNV, we've merged those areas of business to become one and to be integrated, because we see the same happening on our customer side. So for us, the future, and that's coming back to your question on that, the future is going to be an integrated energy landscape where all forms of energy are relevant and are growing, especially here in the Middle East. We see our oil and gas related services going strong, but the growth curve of renewable generation in the Middle East currently is phenomenal. It's just exponential growth, huge projects coming online in the Middle East. So for our collective team, renewable generation, whether it's PV solar, whether it's battery storage, here in the UAE and Saudi, it's really massively growing. So that's the combination of those energy segments for us is really the future.
Phenomenal growth. A great note to end on. Jan, Andy, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.